Hey everyone, I'm Krista Watanabe.
I'm Neoshia Roemer.
And I'm Hugh Howey, and you're listening to Wires from the Deep.
Welcome to Wires from the Deep, a SiloSeries podcast. Today is Sunday, August 2nd, 2026, and you're listening to episode 35, A Relic to Remember. Today, Neoshia and I are very happy to welcome SiloSeries author and executive producer Hugh Howey to help us break down the fifth episode of Silo Season 3, Memory. Hi, Hugh.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Doing great.
This episode was released on July 31st, 2026. It was written by Catherine DiSavino and directed by Eric Avellino.
Good
Yeah, so
friends. I'm like really proud of them for what they pulled off of this episode.
It's a great episode.
Okay, so before we get to the breakdown, I wanted to discuss for a bit the rather frustrating issue of media literacy, particularly with Silo. For me as a viewer and as a subreddit mod, it's been frustrating to see people who either have absolutely no patience for a show playing out over like week by week over an entire season, or they watch every episode and yet don't know basic things going on in the show. So how has this been for you as the creator of the series and like someone so involved in the show, seeing this type of criticism?
Well, I mostly see, I guess, because people reach out to me directly to tell me how much they love the show, but I mostly see all the praise for the show. We've had like the people who've seen the whole season before the show even started were reaching out and saying like, "My God, I can't believe what you guys pulled off here." And I haven't looked at the I don't follow review ratings and stuff, but at one point we opened the season up and it had like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes because this is a 10 episode story, kind of like the novel Shift, like this crazy intricate. I don't know if you can hear the rain, but it's like pouring here in the boat. So sorry for any background noise. Um, but it's just like it's this puzzle box of a season, just like the second book in the trilogy is. And I've seen the whole thing, so I am just so excited for the people who are fans of the books, fans of the show, to watch the payoff. Episodes 9 and 10, I think, are two of the most shocking episodes of TV I've ever seen. And and we just watched episode 4 and 5. That's where viewers are right now, and to me, those two episodes are just like unbelievable. And I can't wait to talk to you guys after the season because to me, when you see the emotional beats that we have at the end of the season, I would love to hear someone explain how to make those pay out without the build up that we've had. I just don't think it's possible. And so I oh another thing I'll say, they're big fans of the show who are worried that other people aren't enjoying it. Like we've never had that before with media consumption. Really, like you watch something you like it, and you go about your day. And now we have this thing where if we don't like something, we have to convince other people that it's bad, or if we love something, we have to convince people that it's good. And none of that's necessary. If you don't like something, go watch something else. If you love something, stay tuned. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I've been feeling that way too. Like, if people say this show's losing me, what do I do? Do I keep watching? I'm just like, just go watch something else. You know, it's up to you. You don't need someone to validate whether you keep watching something. So,
Right.
uh,
Or, I mean, just, I guess for some people, maybe they just need to wait until all 10 episodes are out and come back to it. And then they can, be happy that they're like, oh, everything's answered. Because a lot of the comments that I see in this realm tend to be, they're not answering the questions fast enough. We didn't learn anything in this episode. And it's like, actually, I thought we learned stuff. But, maybe some people just need the 10 episodes at a time.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what people want to learn, but for me, like learning that the way they've controlled people. If you go back and look at like Gloria and some of these other people who've been on the drugs in previous seasons, it's like this is how they get people to go along with like
Mhm.
a really abusive regime. And my goodness, like we're living through so many examples of this. It's just crazy. Orwell in 1984 was one of the first to play with this, where it was like, we're not at war with Northlandia. We've never been at war with Northlandia. We're at war with Southlandia, and we always have been. And it wasn't true yesterday. And you just keep saying it. People are like, oh yeah, of course. And we're living through that kind of absolute like uh, divorce from reality, kind of insanity.
Yeah.
And so for me, like learning how the mechanisms work that have kept these people in prison for so long. There's nothing happening outside the silo more interesting than what's happening inside of it, and there's nothing happening to these people as interesting as what's happening within these people. And those are the stories that we're getting to tell. And like episode 5 to me was like, oh my god. I mean, I'm sure you guys will want to do like a bit by bit breakdown, but like finding out how, and I guess we can talk spoilers right up to the episode that's
Yeah,
aired.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like Sims, I this is one of my favorite characters over the course of this show because he has the craziest arc. If you go back and watch the first episodes with him and realize where he is now, where he's working against his wife, against IT, against the silo, against the pact, with the rebels, because he wants to save his, not only save his son, because what does it mean to save your son if they don't even know who you are? He wants to
yeah,
save the connection between him and his son. And he's had that motivation. He's been consistent. He's been protecting his family this entire time. And something has happened since Juliet came back and he watched his boss, Bernard, almost got to clean. Something snapped at him and he was like, wait, I I think I've been working for these people. I haven't been protecting
what
my
have I been
family.
doing all this time?
Yeah. And what does my protecting my family look like? And oh my God, Juliet and these crazy people from Mechanical are the ones protecting my family and always have been. And now you're thinking about Juliet breaking into his apartment, him slamming a chair down and yelling at her and all this stuff. And it's like, wow, okay, Sims is starting to get it. And those, to me, the world changes when people like Sims change. The world doesn't change because there's Juliets in the world, because there's Bernards in the world. The world changes when someone like Sims wakes up and realizes, man, I've been on the wrong side this whole time. How how can I be of service to the other side? Not just say I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but like I'm gonna fight for the other side now.
yeah, and I've seen a lot of criticism for the amnesia plot, but I think what we've learned watching the season so far is that it's not an amnesia plot. It's about them taking away people's agency. Like they're she didn't hit her head and forget everything, right? They took away her memories. So it's very, to me, that's very different. Like they're doing this to her, right? So that's the plot. It's not that she's forgotten, right? So
I can't wait for you
Yeah.
guys to see it. Episode 10 is gonna blow your mind because like all this pays off in a way that you just would never predict.
Yeah, and just a quick piggyback type question on that. I mean, everything you just said in terms of, Sims and his motivation and, the world changing because of people like Sims, not necessarily Juliet, resonates with me just in general as a sci-fi fan. And I'm always just curious, like how does it feel when it to me, I guess, again, being in some of the places where the comments are being made, when those themes kind of just go over the audience's head, because like you're right, we're exploring really important issues that exist in our time, right? Like these are issues of our time that we're seeing play out. And this is sort of not necessarily a commentary, but a reflection. And so just how does it feel when sometimes those themes are missed, or and maybe that question doesn't make a ton of sense, but
No,
when
it
those themes
makes a
go
lot of
over the
sense.
audience's head.
That comes with the territory of writing dystopian stories, writing sci-fi, writing satire, which I've written a lot of short stories over the years that will take the perspective of something that I find like really ugly about humanity in order to explore it and
mhm.
kind of in the same way Black Mirror and other kind of like dark satirical shows can do. And then I'll have people emailing me and saying like, I can't believe you believe this. I'm like, no, I'm writing about it. I'm not telling you what I believe. That's what do you believe? This is to start a conversation. I get people all the time who come up to me and want to talk about the end of the world and their preppers and what they're doing to prepare for it and what am I doing to prepare for it? And I'm like, I'm enjoying my life. Like, what do you mean the end of the the end of the world happens? The most random thing will take you out. You know, an infected splinter, an impacted tooth. Like you're not preparing for it. So I get this all the time from people where I'm writing about themes and they're seeing something completely different. And that's kind of the beauty of art that we see ourselves in it rather than the artist or the meaning. We usually just project our own stuff into it. Um, I know that Netflix has this policy now where they really want to write to people who might have their phones out.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means like really explicitly saying what's going on or repeating things or trying to keep the themes more surface level. They call it second screen viewing, and it's kind of a internal policy. And what I love, I'm so happy that we've partnered with Apple because they have the opposite. They're like, we're gonna make shows where the people who watch it twice are gonna get the most out of it. You know, I've just watched Widow's Bay for the second time, and it's even better the second time. And I've
I've been
seen
meaning to
every
do that.
episode. You need to, but this season of Silo, when if you watch the 10th episode and go back and start watching it all over again, you're going to realize that everything was like meticulously handcrafted and couldn't have been done any other way.
Yeah, you mentioned a puzzle box earlier, and I was actually thinking that that's what the season so far has felt like. Like when you do a jigsaw puzzle, and like you have to like put all the similar pieces together, and then it's you rarely put in pieces, but as you get to a certain point, all the pieces start coming together, and it like the puzzle just gets really easy from there, right? So
Yep.
that's what it's felt like so far. Like one piece here, one piece there, and then now it's all coming together. It sort of feels like we've crested and now it's going to be like a ride to the end. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Another thing I think people want more of a hero's journey than this
Mm.
story has ever been. Because the Juliet's arc has never been her getting some pieces and then saving the world, and that's the traditional story. Even in the books, like it's Billings on the way up the stairs, and Juliet's going to get sent out to clean, and it's this guy who's got all the information that any of us would have, but the courage to act on it. Who really turns the tide? Sims in the show just saved Bernard's life, saved Juliet's life. Like she can't be the engineer of everything because it's just unrealistic. Her journey is actually to try to figure out how to lead people
Mhm.
and get people to
Mm.
follow her, get people to believe in her because she's been antisocial her whole life. Like she just doesn't trust people. She'd rather have a welding torch and a broken machine and fix this thing in front of her, and ignore because of the scars of her past, her brother, her mom, her dad. Like people have hurt her. Just their existing has hurt her. And what I love about season two is the bond that she forms with Solo, this other person
Mm.
who has like only been hurt by people. You're watching these two people when they that moment when they touch, and then the
The
hug that
shoulder.
you have.
The
Oh my God! Like that is her. That's her journey. And in this season, we're gonna see like what it takes for her to learn, and that's why the affect she has at the beginning of the season, where she doesn't even know Shirley, and she's back to like no connection. It's gonna be more than just her reestablishing those connections. It's gonna be her figuring out how to be a mayor, like not because I was given the job because someone shouted it on the stairwell, but because I want the job. Like I'm the one. If these people will follow me, I can lead them to safety. And that is a very long, that's much harder than someone like, oh, here are the three clues. Now I can go like, solve the case. Like there's nothing to solve. There's no like turn a key and the world is better. It's becoming the person who can lead people in a different kind of future. And man, if you think you're going to get that in 2 episodes, I got news for
Yeah. Well, and I guess it just, something that I thought of while you were talking, to me, just sort of something we've talked about on this season a little bit earlier on is just sort of what rebellion means, right? And the idea of rebellion or revolution, it's usually not this one big popular idea, right? It's what you just described. There's someone who is willing to take a risk or a chance. Your Sims, your Juliet, your person that's going to, say, hey, something's not right here. And then sort of building this coalition behind them, but it's also what we're seeing on the show right now where there's almost, not really almost, but there's these pockets of rebellion. And so to me, it just kind of sounds or seems like maybe just our own understanding of, what it means to be revolutionary, what it means to be rebellious. And it's not necessarily this big cohesive idea or cohesive project. I mean, I think we've seen that a little bit with, sort of the memory around what the rebellion was and how many people died and what actually happened.
Yeah, if you want to see people storm the stairs with bombs and guns, like that's what season 2 is about. Like it was Juliet seeing what happens when that takes place, and it's just everyone dead. And will it feel good in the moment because you're angry and you want to lash out at something? Yeah, it's going to feel good for that day, and that's going to be your last day. And she's figured that out, and that's why when she's now like this group of people, Bernard knows this, Sims knows this, Walker, like these people all understand that you can't just get everyone angry and go to war. And that's traditional storytelling. I'm sure there are people who are like, why isn't everybody like riled up? Where's the revolution?
Right.
And this the really the central theme of this entire trilogy, like what I was really writing about, was that those revolutions generally don't work. The revolution in the United States was we had to survive. Our army had to survive the British assault and invasion. But the founding fathers and Washington, George Washington, is the commander of that army, knew that fighting was not going to fix this. Like we have to survive until it's too expensive for them, and they leave. But the real battle is how do we get all these people with different interests to come together and make sacrifices, make compromise, and try a new system, and a system that doesn't even trust itself, that has the recipe for how to fix it inside of it. And that's the kind of position that Juliet and company are going to be in, where they're like, we can't just tear ourselves down. We have to build each other up.
I thought it was amusing that at the start of the episode, Camille tells Robert the order of priority on who is the most dangerous, and that she said it was Bernard and Juliet, and she said it's whoever talks first. And it's just so amusing to me that all throughout the episode we just see Bernard just spewing information to everyone. He's like telling everybody now. It's such a different dynamic for what he
Mhm.
was before, where he was so closed off and he kept all the secrets. But now he's just like blah 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 blah. He's telling everybody. I love that.
I know. I
And
love it.
it was just like I was like, oh, okay, so the overseer was right. He is very dangerous because now he's been holding it all in, and now he just gets to just tell whoever he wants.
Yeah, because he knows that everything they're doing is pointless. As soon as he learned that they can be killed, what Lucas uncovered for him changed everything. He was ready. He was ready to
Mm-hmm.
just. It made him so depressed. He was ready to go kill himself because he started thinking about all the things that he's done to
Mhm.
people, and he thought it was to save them, but it wasn't. It was like arbitrary to satisfy some higher power. I mean, there's a lot of theological commentary happening there. Like if you're doing a thing because something higher than you is commanding you to do it, you're not being moral. You're just being obedient. If that commandment, if that action is already moral, it's a moral outside of that being. And this is something that really like broke my mind when I was younger because I was raised very religious. But I remember like one of my favorite examples, Braveheart. This is a movie about a guy doing what he knows to be right, and the king is telling him what he should be doing. and he's the hero of the story. We all know that. We watch this story and we're like, the reason he's a good guy is because he's doing the right thing, even though someone higher than him with all the power is telling him something different. The morality exists outside of the system. And we recognize that, like even religious people, they go to the movie, they watch Braveheart, and they're like, he was the good guy, that king was the bad guy. But they don't see that the same thing happens in religious systems where no, this is the rule. The rule is you have to hate these people or you have to like punish these people. I'm like, well, is the rule good or bad? And that's what William Wallace was asking. These are bad rules. And this is what people like Juliet are asking. Hey, these are dumb rules. And this is something that Bernard finally figured out. Hey, the rules are not good. And I've been fighting for the wrong thing all this time. Sims has gone through the same thing. And this is like a steady theme throughout the show. It's like, what would you do? And this is rewriting the pact, right? This is the same theme. What would you do if you found out the thing that you're fighting for is an immoral system? Are you so grounded and locked into your ideology that you're going to keep fighting because you can't say I was wrong all these years?
Mhm.
And an interesting contrast, Bernard is not nearly as strong as Sims. Bernard, as soon as he found out he was on the wrong side, was willing to just give up and go to his death.
Yeah,
Sims immediately was like,
I'm gonna
"Okay,
fight.
Yeah.
I've been wrong. I can readjust. I have new information now." And to me, that makes him like we all need to be like Sims all the time. If when I learn something new and I realize I've been wrong about something, and I blog about it all the time, I'm like, I used to hold this belief very strongly. Now I hold a different belief very strongly. Guess what? I might change my mind again. That's the beauty
Yeah.
of learning and growing.
Yeah.
Actually, so this is a good time to get into the breakdown because it opens with the opening was really intense, by the way, where they're fighting over getting Juliet out and stuff. I didn't imagine that when I thought about how they got her out. But before we get to the breakdown, I wanted to ask what prompted the revamp of the show's intro and the music. I mean, I really like it, but I was just curious.
Well, I think one of the things they had to do is make it a little bit longer because we have a whole nother cast that's added. Most shows, you bring back the same number of people. We had two separate crews filming for
Mm.
seasons 3 and 4. So there was they would call it like the dust crew and the shift crew, even though
Hmm.
both books are getting kind of shot over 2 seasons. So yeah, there's a lot more names to get on the screen. Also, the people who work on these things have a lot of fun with it. Like this is their. It's not like the same people who are directing the episode go do this on the side. Apple has entire. They contract out someone to play with these things, and it's their chance to be creative. I love it. I also love just kind of selfishly, really, that when you skip the intro, like the first thing that pops up is like based on the books, and
By Hugh
so it's
Howey.
it's kind of cool that yeah, even if you skip it, you get like you're forced to find out a little bit about where all this came from. But it depends on what just happened, whether or not my wife and I like sit through the whole intro, because sometimes like the intro comes in after this huge dump of stuff that just happened, and you're like, okay, we're gonna watch the intro. 'Cause I need to like consolidate this before we move on to the next thing.
Well, for me, I always have to watch the intro. That's like my how I ease into a show. So I always watch it, and it's been amusing to me that whenever they have to add more people, like the names just flash a lot faster now because you have so
That's
many
true.
people to go through. Okay, so to get into the episode breakdown, after that opening scene, I really liked this whole like we've been talking a lot about Sims, and I really liked this. The way that they shot it so that they're closing the door, they have to leave mom and wife inside, and it's scary for them. It's easy to forget that the rebellion is still going on around them, right? It's quiet in this room, but they're scared, right? Like he tells his son, we got to go find a safe place to hide out because I mean, he probably thinks, oh, I have a lot of enemies who probably want to kill me right now, and I just thought it was kind of tragic that he has to close his wife in his vault. He has to have faith that she's going to be okay. And it's almost like that's the start of this marital rift between them. And he doesn't even realize it at the time because he finds out when she comes back to the apartment, right? That she found out a lot of things, but she can't tell him any of it.
Yeah.
And at what point do you think in Sims's mind did he decide I'm going to have to go against my wife? Because I feel like that's a big deal for him personally, right?
Yeah, I think it came in chunks. It really starts with the break between him and Bernard because it's not so much he's breaking with his wife, he's breaking with IT and whatever's happening in that vault. And if it would have been, it's hardest to come from his wife and most disappointing. But whoever's in that position, he's already decided that that is not in the that whatever's happening in there is not in our best interest. And it, maybe he learns it quicker in some ways because it's Camille. Because when she says, "I can't tell you these things," he's like, "Wait, it almost you should be able to tell me anything. If it's that bad, if it's something that you can't tell me, and you're willing to put that over our relationship, then it's even worse than anything that I thought."
Mm.
So I think you see it in that scene, and I love by the end of the episode how it's like visually um, portrayed with because they're on these two different levels and they're looking at each other, and you can just it's the the gap in the stairwell, which represents the revolution and the bottom versus the top and the Civil War. Really, like they're embodying that in that final scene, and you can tell like, yeah, they're not going to be on this on the same side for this.
Yeah, I mean, this is skipping ahead, but I really liked that they're standing on opposite sides of the gap, looking at each other.
Hmm.
That was a great, that was good symbolism, I thought.
Yeah, just like in last week when we talked about last week's, so episode four's opening scene where they're literally at opposing ends of the room, slowly, and it looks very antagonistic. And so I think there's been a good deal of setup here in terms of like, yes, they're a married couple. However, they may not be on the same side of this because of their duties within the silo.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun watching the team, you know, write the script. Well, first just think about these themes from the first day in the writers' room where we laid out these four seasons, and then the teams come up with all the symbolism and themes that are going to go in the show, and then the way they're going to block the shots. Like it all feeds on each other, and everything's so deliberate. It's like this is what's happening in their minds, and this is why we're going to shoot it this way.
So one thing I really enjoyed about the episode was the various changing dynamics. You have all these people who were opposing each other before, and now they're suddenly put together. Like Martha and Bernard, she's like taking care of him. And we had joked about this on Discord. We had said, "Oh, Martha's probably taking care of him. She's probably doing a terrible job too." Maybe on purpose, just to get some petty revenge. And then we got to see that. And then I also just, like the way Sims walks in and he's like, "I need your help." And they're like, "We hate you."
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. So it's interesting that Sims already knows how the drugs work and he knew what vitamin D plus is used for. Is this a regular tool that Sims has used for enforcement in the past?
For sure. They're in season two we see Gloria who's kept on these drugs, and if you have to deliver something like that,
Oh, okay.
Sims would be the guy you would send it through. So it wouldn't be. It's not that's so far below Bernard's uh, pay grade. But I think what they're being meant to forget is something that is like Sims wouldn't even be curious about that. That's the kind of guy you would hire for his position. It's like the boss needs this, give it to that person. Yeah, that person knows some dangerous stuff. They need to forget it. Like, well,
Right.
what do they know that's dangerous? Why is it dangerous? Who's it dangerous to? Should we, all that's not him. And the algorithm is looking for people like that that are very, you know, what Rashid has done or Common has done playing this character is showing someone who's just like very one dimensional. Like that's the rule, and I'm going to do it. And like and they wouldn't hire anyone else for that role. And that's why they have a kid because like you look at what Camille is willing to do and what Sims is willing to do, and the algorithm's like we need more people like this. These are silo people.
Hmm.
You go back to episode one of the first season, and that's those aren't silo people. That's why they're not, having a child. They're like, she's asking questions. He's the kind of sheriff who would put his family over the silo. These are dangerous people, and
Mm.
that's just a central part of what holds this community together and holds this show together.
Yeah. Almost like the government choosing its citizens, or in this case, with the vitamin D plus, the government choosing which memories we can carry forward.
Yeah, and it's crazy that people think this is sci-fi. They, we put in a government that doesn't that that's paid off by big oil and big natural gas and coal, and all mention of global warming and climate change gets removed from all government websites. And that's one of like several cases that's happened just the last couple of years, where large swaths of data of laboriously generated scientific data has just been removed from government websites. And if it's gone long enough, people will forget it happened.
My line of work, we definitely face the whole like data crisis of data going away because there were some reports done during the Biden administration about Native American boarding schools, and we were really concerned that those reports were just going to vanish overnight. So, and then also with like abortion access and those things vanishing overnight. And so there's been databases. We've created databases to try to preserve that stuff. And you shouldn't really have to have private citizens collecting data from government reports, or what used to be government reports, because those things would just disappear. And
Yeah,
so it's
the
it's
flame
goes
keepers.
along with this memory. Yeah.
Right now, we're going through this thing where people are angry at Dr. Fauci and angry at the pandemic, which is a global pandemic. So making it
Right.
about local politics is kind of weird. But also, everyone's acting like either Biden or Obama must have been president at the time. When Trump, the guy that they're like shilling for about everything, was the guy who was president at the time of all this. And this is not just to take sides, which I have a very strong side that anybody who reads my stuff should know without
Yeah.
having to read my blog. My books are about this kind of tyrannical nonsense and the idiots
Mhm.
who will lick the boots for people like this. Whatever your politics, it's absolutely bizarre how people forget who was president 2 presidents ago,
Yep.
when these things were happening. And so this whole vitamin D, like, how can they make people forget? By telling you lies constantly and by
Yeah.
taking away data, which helps keep you straight, by making you watch
Right.
a TV channel that's just like brain rot. Like
Mm.
you are fed vitamin D every day, and this show is not, nearly as crazy as the world we live in.
Yeah, I was going to skip this follow-up question I had based on the first part of your answer, but now I'm actually curious about this because when we first heard it called vitamin D plus, I was like, oh, well, we normally get vitamin D from the sun. There is no sun in the silo. Is there a connection here between, not being able to, meet this biological need for vitamin D and not having sun in the silo? But now, sort of talking about it from the perspective of, sort of I'm just going to call it garbage that we're fed, or I mean, in some cases, maybe not even garbage, because I think this applies to the silo as well, where some people are kept so busy working, they can't possibly care about this, right? Like they care about living, right? They don't want the silo to go away, but they can't possibly care about
What the
rebellion. They're
judge is
busy working.
doing, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
And so
my job's to keep the fish swimming. Like
Yeah.
right.
what are mechanical? This crazy people.
Right. And so I just kind of wonder too, then, or that kind of makes me a little bit more curious about the vitamin D plus, in terms of, you know, just real world significance. I mean, is there a reason why it's called vitamin D or anything like that? But again, your point on just sort of how we're fed a narrative and how we kind of just are fed narratives to forget, maybe too much work, so we don't really want to know or can't know. But just, is there any significance in choosing that vitamin D plus as what is being given to the population, the opiate of the masses, if you will?
Yeah, there is for us because it's all symbolism. The being lied to is kept in the dark, and
Hmm.
vitamin D is what happens when you're not kept in the dark, and it's like labeling the thing that is the thing that you are the opposite of the thing that you're doing, and that's kind of throughout the original books and throughout the show, you, we're making fun of the fact that if you get removed from all social media, like you get kicked off of Facebook and Twitter because you're lying constantly, and then you go create your own social media account, you just call it like truth, like uh, like we're known to lie about everything, but if we call a thing called truth, then like people will believe it. And so this chemical that's meant to keep you in the dark is named after the thing that's the opposite of that. And
Mhm.
it's not important. We could call it anything, but if you're going to call it something, why not call it something fun and have it have like deeper meaning, even just for you, if you're the ones making it all up.
So we've been talking a lot about Sims, but I thought it was interesting. You know, when they show her the relics and nothing jogs her memory, and then they have Hank come in with the watch, and she has that really emotional scene with him. And as an aside, I really loved that, you know, the way that she reacts to him when he starts telling her about what her dad had said to tell her when he sees her again, and she's just so overcome that she has to literally turn away from him because she can't handle it. And I thought that was so classic Jules, and I really liked the way that that scene played out. But then right after that, Sims comes over and he says, "Are you okay?" And I thought that was such a different aspect of his character because he's been such a boogeyman character. He's like very in your face and very muscle enforcer kind of guy. But it spoke so much to me about how far he's come in the past 3 months, because it's easy to forget that there's this gap in time. But
Yeah,
he
they didn't
seems to
wait a
have.
year for like another season to come out. It's like that was last week.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I find that really interesting on the part of his character, that he's so different now, and it's been really good watching this journey that he's going. And this episode changed so much in how we look at him too, because you guys are very cleverly hiding the fact that he went against Camille and the AI very early on, like almost like from the jump, right?
Yeah,
And I love that reveal here because it just changed everything. And like I was fooled. You know, I thought that he was still Sims, even though like I was like, why is he behaving this way? He's very different from, and I couldn't figure it out. And so it was really good to watch it play out in this episode. He's had like such an emotional journey. So
yeah. I just talking about it makes me want to go back and watch it again. After the 10th episode comes out, I think the thing I want to do is like maybe watch the whole season over a couple of days.
yeah, I've been watching the episode like 3 times each week, so
Mhm.
I'm pretty familiar with everything every week. But I do think as a whole it'll be a different viewing. So
Yeah, yeah. Someone you mentioned, I think Neosha mentioned this earlier. What it'd be like to binge this. So the season wraps in just 5 weeks, and anybody who turns on Silo after that will get to watch 3 seasons if they want, like just back to back to back. And I I think this season it's rewarding watching it weekly because you get to spend a lot of time like we are dissecting each episode. But I really think the story hits much harder when you get to binge it. And
mm.
it's not often I think that about an Apple show, but I do think that this is going to be one of those shows that watching 10 episodes as quickly as you feel like it is going to be a maybe a more rewarding experience than those of us who are like suffering the wait each week.
Well, I would say too, like 10 episodes while actually watching the show, not on your phone, because I
Yeah.
think that's like one of the things too. And I totally agree because I think, well, one of my favorite TV shows that's in it's Fringe, which is a sci-fi show. Um, just favorite, all-time favorite, I guess I should say. Very similar situation where you watch week to week and you are able to dissect the episode for what you're seeing happen, right? What we see happen in this week. Like last week, we talked about being surprised when, or, sort of that jump scare when Sims is there and then suddenly he's gone because we shut the door and locked it. But, you see these week to week things. But then when you go back and watch it over the course of, a season or the whole lifetime of a show, it all fits together in a really, really cohesive way, that maybe you didn't see in the week to week perspective. And so I guess, it's a good point in that, maybe there is no wrong or right way to watch a show. Maybe it's week to week, maybe it's binging, because you might pick up different perspectives both ways.
Yeah. I mean, anybody watching Silo season one right now, because if you turn on, you just got Apple for the first time and you turn it on and the number one show is this thing called Silo, you don't pick it up and watch that week's episode. You hit play and it starts, they're watching the pilot from season one. And now it's up to them. How quick do they want to watch it? And it's a very different viewing experience. And yeah, I think maybe one of the reasons you've got such a strong critical review of season three is those people all watched it as quickly as they wanted to. They could take a break after a certain episode where a lot was happening. Episodes where the cliffhanger leads right into the next one, they just okay, watch one more. And I think when you see the frustration of people who aren't enjoying season three as
week to
much,
week.
it's usually they're like, I can't believe they're making us. It's not coming quick enough. They're making us wait. It's all this impatience. Hardly anyone's saying like, "Yeah, I turned it off because like I don't care." They're like, "I care more than the writers seem to care. Like, give it to me." And so that bodes well, I think, for future viewers. They're going to have a good time just watching it at their own pace.
So I recently had my dad come and stay over, and he had one more day left staying with me. And I was like, "Oh, you should watch this show, Silo." So I had him watch the pilot, and like halfway through the first episode, he was like, "I guess I'm getting Apple TV."
Nice.
He managed to watch the whole first season in the very little time that he had left staying with me, and then he went home, he watched season 2 all the way through, and then he messaged me. He's like, "I started season 3, but where's the rest?" He was so upset to find out that it wasn't fully out yet.
I
So
love it.
he gets both experiences. So
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be most people. I'm just so glad that we filmed them together so that next year, this time next year, we'll like have wrapped the whole show up. Because waiting 3 years or so, like I'm, I'm not even sure how people are going to wait a year after this season when they see like where it ends and where it's going. They're going to be like, a year is too long. So we're really lucky that we don't have any longer than that to wait.
yeah, I like that. Uh, Actually, before we move on, though, my dad wanted to for me to tell you that he really liked Solo. He loves Steve Zahn as Solo, and he can't wait to see him come back.
Yeah, I mean he's a fan favorite for sure.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about the critical supply thing and this Orla Kent mystery, because I was really drawn to Orla from her first scene. I really liked her, and I was so pissed off that she died.
Yeah, I know that's unfortunate.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
But as soon
Happens a
as she
lot on
was
the show.
leaving, we were both like, she's not going to be back, but okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we still like her.
Yeah.
But this plot development with the light bulbs has seemed to have spawned a lot of armchair light bulb experts.
I know I've seen some fun theories about this. My favorite is that it's like a different silo that's stealing them.
That was
That's
my
pretty funny.
thought. I was like, so are they like, who is stealing them and why? And is this why we're not able to tunnel out, or somebody tunneling? Anyway, that was my theory.
And I mean, it's so many light bulbs too. It's like 48 years of light bulbs. I was like trying to do the calculation. I was just like, where are they putting all these light bulbs?
Well, we see the boxes, so we know generally how much volume, and not all those
Yeah.
boxes are light bulbs. It's just this one area. But it might be that one breaks out, one goes out every 6 months, so it's hard to do the math without
Mhm.
knowing the reliability of them. But what we know for sure is that there's now only 2 years left, which it's kind of puts the whole silo on a ticking time bomb that right now only very few people know about. But that's going to increase the stakes and the timing of everything that comes after.
I really feel for Billings because this poor guy just keeps getting the rug pulled out from under him. He'll just be like, I gotta find out what happened to Orla, and then he finds out that, oh my god, we only have 2 years of life left. I just
Yeah,
He
it
didn't
just
sign
never
up for
ends
this.
for this guy.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
this is something that's different from the books. I personally think the books, the reveal in the books, um, is a little more powerful because basically, as someone's pointing out, and it's Juliet who's finding this out, is that if you look at all the different supplies, all the calculations are about the same. Like if you run the numbers, it all leads to the same number of years left. And in the
Mm.
books, it's more than two because we don't need the ticking time bomb. What we really need is for people to realize that this was not meant to be forever. You're not supposed to live there forever. And what happens in 48 years or whatever's left is a mystery. But what's not a mystery is that that's the end of whatever this is that we're a part of. Like this, we're the last of this generation to deal with this. And yeah, I loved writing that part. The nature of adapting things, we have to figure out a different way to up the stakes. But so I think it should be a bigger deal, not just that there's 2 years left, but like, well, what 70 years? What we were supposed to do then? Like that's
Yeah.
all we had. 70 years? Like we have kids. They're gonna be alive when the whole thing runs down. You're telling me we're the last generation? Like I think that should have been like a bigger part of that story when they get that number.
Yeah, there was a very subtle hint in a previous episode where Camille and Sims are talking about basically they envision their son being able to leave the silo eventually, right? So I thought it was interesting that this is even something that she can conceive, because for everybody else, life in the silo is just, they just go day to day and they just live life as they can. And they look at the screen outside for when they can go out, but it doesn't seem to improve. It doesn't change, right? So I feel like people, after a while, would just settle into just always just doing the same routine and not really thinking about, is it going to look better tomorrow, kind of thing. So they don't really have like an end date for that in their minds. But I don't know, does she have one? Like, does she just assume that one day her son will get to leave, kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what scene that is and why Camille would think that. But the taboo of leaving the silo is so pervasive for most people that it's not something they think about. I think it's something we don't talk enough about in our society is that most people just don't care about anything. Like
right.
they they care when the next episode of their favorite show is coming on, but like going out to vote, I kind of wish someone would win over someone else. But the biggest block of eligible voters in our last presidential election didn't vote. Like there's three groups of people, or I guess there's four. There's people that voted for the Democrat, people that voted for the Republican, very, very small number of people who went to the polls and voted for a third candidate anyway. But the biggest group of people couldn't be bothered. And
Hmm.
those are the people you're talking about, that like it's um, to them, like the day to day is the only thing that matters. And the things that are affecting their day to day, they just can't conceive of doing anything about.
So at the end, we finally go back to Helen and Daniel, and they're in the car, and we had a question about the what happens with the car like ending up driving on its own.
Yeah, because I watched that and then my very first reaction was like, "All right, this is the problem with AI." And then I went, "Well, maybe AI has already won," because at first I thought this was a self-driving car, but then someone in our Discord server pointed out, it actually looks like a normal minivan with these capabilities that I mean, I can start my car from my phone. I can unlock it from my phone. I can see it tells me my oil change, my tire pressure, except for that's broken right now. I need to get that fixed, but it tells me everything I need to know right from my phone. And so, right now we're in this big AI craze. I'm a law professor, and one of the big things that we're dealing with is what do we do about AI and how do we monitor AI and what students are using and things like that. But in many ways, kind of already I don't want to say we've lost to AI, but we've already let machines into our lives in such a pervasive manner. It may not be sort of a battle of, AI versus not AI. And I just didn't know if you had any commentary on sort of the positionality of AI here, or if you, is this a self-driving car? Was I crazy about that?
You should.
But I think
He just blogged about this. Actually, you should go read his
Yeah, I
blog
just
post
read
after
about
I,
this
I
this.
should,
yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've had so many thoughts about AI since before AI was even here. My
Hmm.
first short story collection was called Machine Learning because so many of the
Machine learning.
stories are about AI. I didn't think we would have the level of AI we have today. I didn't think we would have that in my lifetime. So I thought we would be another generation of sci-fi writers writing about something that we would never experience, and now we're experiencing it. So I've had a lot of thoughts before, and a lot of my ideas have changed and are changing every day because of what we see. Like I Hank Green is a decent friend of mine. Like one of the reasons he wrote his first novel is because I was writing him all the time. Like, dude, you need to write a novel, and kind of turned his mind onto the idea that like that he has the audience for this. He has something to say. He's a brilliant writer, and watching him get eviscerated for what he admits like is he's allowed AI to play too big of a role in his research. So he's had this big mea culpa about it. But I think the reaction to him has been just completely overblown. And he's got this like he's an ally. He's done so much good in the world. He's used his success to like start charities and raise money for the people. It's not just about enriching himself. But watching the reaction to it and how strong it is, um, makes me a little more pro AI than I think that army of people would like to have happen. And I don't think I'm alone in that because the AIs are like um, so generous with they're so like steady with how they treat the user like a human. You know, it's like it rarely glitches out and just starts telling you like awful things the way humans glitch out and tell other humans awful things. And so when I see all these people just acting like barbaric monsters towards a person that I know is a lovely human being, whether he made a mistake or not, he's coming out and talking about it, he's starting a conversation. And people are just saying things about him that like my only response would be like, what human slop? Like, be better than
Yeah,
this. Like the
people
machines
are
are way better
awful.
than you are. All people are awful. And my wife has these amazing insights that takes me like 5 years to get to and takes her 5 minutes. But we were watching, we were reading these results of this study about doctors of bedside manner, humans versus AI. And the AI ranked way higher, not just in diagnoses, which they were higher than human doctors. They get the diagnosis right more often than humans. But the bedside manner, and these are double blind. The people receiving the care don't know if it's a human or machine, but the bedside manner ratings were even higher for the AI over the humans. And we were talking about this, and I'm like trying to figure it out, and my wife just looked at the data, and she was like, "Humans are terrible at being human." And I was like, "Whoa, that's way more profound than it seems at first." But we're just really bad at being good to each other consistently, and so that's a kind of a big aside about what my thoughts are on AI right now. But I hope that we can use an AI, which right now, large language models are a massive distillation of human discourse. Like it, a lot that I have written is in there. Like not just my books, but my blog, my Facebook posts, my comments on forums. Some of it they don't even know it's me because I've written on forums for years under like weird screen names, like you do when you sign up for a forum. But so all of our discourse is there, and the good discourse is beating out the bad discourse. Like they're having a really hard time making Grok be as big of an asshole as Elon and the assholes who look up to Elon want it to be. Like in order for it to be correct about things, it ends up being kind of having a liberal viewpoint. And they're but be edgy. Like, but sorry, but you trained me on a bunch of data, and most of that data is people being good to each other. And that's why I am like mostly hopeful that there'll be wisdom to learn from the distillation of human interaction. And I think the people who distrust AI and that data set have a pretty negative view of humanity if they think that, because it's our data set. That's us in there. That's like us
Mm.
talking to each other and learning from each other and writing stories that mostly have happy endings where the good guys win. Like it's almost all good stuff in there. And what we should expect out of it's good stuff. Now back to the car, driving itself. I don't want to give away a bunch, but I will say in the first episode, it sure seems like something is taking over
Mm.
F-35,
Charlotte's.
which aren't supposed to fly themselves. And I do not think that minivan bought like rented from some shady dude, just like you said.
On the
He didn't
lamppost.
get,
Yeah,
yeah, the
lamppost.
government exactly. The government didn't assign him that car, so it didn't look to me like the kind of vehicle that could drive itself. So that is more interesting than hey, the Tesla is being reprogrammed from somebody. It's more like this is an analog car that he doesn't have any control over.
Mm.
And that's why I think they're more freaked out than just like, hey, my self-driving car is doing something. They're like, this is a shitty old van, and it's I can't do anything.
Mm.
And poor Daniel thought that he was doing the right thing finally.
Poor
We
Daniel.
started we call him
Wow,
Sweet Summer Daniel.
Yeah.
He's so
man,
precious.
he is so precious. Remember you said that. Like, write that on a little sticky note and
Yeah.
put on your monitor that he's so precious because, oh boy,
Yeah, I mean we're aware that winter's coming for this guy.
Yeah.
Things
His
will
I mean,
things
is it winter so much as like his, what do you call the Brienne of Tarth arc? Where he kind of just levels up because he knows like
mm,
he has to get a little bit streetwise and maybe he won't be the sweet summer cinnamon roll that we know forever because he has to get wise.
I mean, I think that's why we fixate so much on his innocence right now is because we know that that's going to change at some point. So,
that his innocence is everything. Like, wow. We have to have this conversation after at the end of the season.
after the season, yeah.
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 As an aside, I'm in love with Helen.
Oh,
She is
the
so good,
Mhm.
Jessica.
their chemistry is crazy. I remember when we were watching dailies and the stuff happening between takes. It was like they just synced up immediately and had the best on and off screen chemistry. Just two professionals, like loving that they got to like play these lines off each other. It just they make it look so easy, and it's not that easy.
Mhm.
It's just so funny watching every week. He's just like he has this innocent take, and she's just like, "No, no, it's not like this at all." Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
poor Daniel. Okay, so I know we're running out of time, so I want to ask real quick. I want to talk about pets in the silo because it's not likely to be addressed in the show. So maybe you can tell us what the internal thinking is on who gets pets and how is pet ownership determined? Like, why does Carla have two dogs? Why does Regina seem to have two cats? And then I started thinking a little bit too, like maybe I'm just thinking about it in the incorrect terms. Like, are the animals in the silo pets, or are the humans that keep them more like their stewards, like trying to get them to the end of time in the silo?
Like Noah's Ark type thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think there's some of both. I think the people who want humanity on the other side of this don't want them to be there without the domesticated animals that add to our lives and in some ways are the glue of a lot of society. Like I don't think people realize who don't own dogs how important dogs are to um,
Mental health.
yeah to society as a whole. We were just in New York last week, and I like I'm up early every morning and going out and finding breakfast or just going for a walk along the waterfront. And on Saturdays and Sundays, when you're out early, it's joggers and pet owners. It's just like people just out walking their dogs, and you realize how many people in one small block of the city own pets, and otherwise you don't know they're there. And so when the pets appear on the side, like, wait, they have pets? Like, yeah, of course they have pets, and mostly they're in their apartment. So you see someone who's sitting at their desk in the sheriff's office typing away their keyboard. Their dog's not sitting on the desk, but their dog is back in the apartment. Just can't wait for them to get home so they can go walk to the gardens together to like pee on a corn stalk and and get their kibbles. But I think every now and then we show that they're there, to remind people that these are humans and they're living a human life, and someone's got a parakeet somewhere, and there are probably people with pet frogs and who knows what else. But it's all happening. We're just instead we're following the sheriff and the judge and the head of mechanical trying to save the world. But it doesn't mean that they all don't all have a cat at home waiting for them to get back at the door.
Okay, so we have something that we're calling Ask Stupid Questions. So we've asked you some serious questions. Now we want to ask you some silly questions.
Okay.
So we're going to ask you these 3 silly questions and we want your silly answer. So first question, how much time does Nox spend on his hair before handling important silo affairs, such as moving a 250-pound pain in the ass?
It's at least 18 minutes. He's got perfect hair.
I know. Like, when he was down in the digger point, I was like, wow, his waves are really
Yeah.
nice.
He's a handsome dude.
Yeah, hair gel made it into the silo for sure. So the second question we have for you, which is inspired by Resron on Discord, what does the order say about what to do if a cleaner draws a smiley face on the camera lens?
If a cleaner draws a smiley face on the camera lens, it's too late. That silo is toast. Yeah, they've messed up big time. Or someone mixed up the air valves in the cleaning suit.
What is the line? In the event of a failed cleaning, prepare for war. In the event of a smiley face, prepare for war.
It's too late.
Okay, and our last question. If you could go back and choose a different Pez dispenser to be used in the show, which one would you choose?
I think only because my wife has this one and I love it, a Wonder Woman Pez dispenser.
I
Yeah.
wonder what people would think about.
Yeah, they're not as popular as they used to be because I remember them being everywhere, like and having all kinds of different Pez dispensers out there. But yeah,
I still see them everywhere, actually.
If you go to cons, if you go to like Comic Cons or any kind of like Nerd Fest, they'll have a booth that'll have like a bunch of fun collector Pez.
Yeah, whenever there's a Marvel movie coming out, they'll put them up in like 7-Eleven and stuff like that.
I guess I'm not in the right places.
Here's what I don't get. They keep coming up with new Pez dispensers, but why not try coming out with like a Pez that's actually delicious? Like come out with like a sour Pez or like a hot, like a spicy Pez. Like how come like they're so creative with the dispenser and the stuff in it is just still awful.
Well, my family only eats the strawberry one, so
yeah,
my kids are very set in their Pez ways. But yeah.
I love it.
Oh, actually, I wanted to share this too. Apple TV sent this to me, and
no way.
they actually, so it actually lights up too.
What?
Oh, that's cool.
Can you tell? Yeah. So it actually functions. I haven't managed to get it set up correctly because something's wrong with my Wi-Fi. But basically, when they post to Instagram, it lights up.
No way.
Yeah. So when they told us about it, I was like, what? It actually works? It's so cool. So I have to get it working because, I'll have it just like, it's just supposed to be off and on your desk. And if it lights up,
I gotta email somebody. I didn't get one of those. Someone needs to email.
So they my first one got like sent all over the country, so they sent me another one. So I have one to give away. So our listeners, they can keep listening for in a future episode. We're gonna tell you how you can win one from our show. So
amazing.
Yeah,
I love that thing lights up when they post.
I know. I was like, who thought of that? That's really cool.
That's brilliant.
It's great marketing for sure.
And then so the last time we talked to you on this show, we did a quiz called Pop Quiz Jerk Face. And since this week's episode was called Memory, I'm hoping that you're game for round 2.
Okay. I don't remember if I did. I don't think I did very well last time.
I think
it was like 3 out of 4 or something.
Okay, but if this time I'll let you choose whether you can do multiple choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to do multiple choice?
Why don't you ask the question, and then if I have no idea, I'll ask for multiple choice.
All right. Question 1. What is the name of the band Daniel and Sam were in together?
Oh my gosh. I just saw this episode, so I should remember. but I don't. Yeah, do you want to give me multiple choice? And maybe I'll
Okay,
recognize it.
A, From Dusk Till Dawn, B, The Lost Boys, C,
Yeah, it's the Lost
Underworld, or
Boys. Right,
D,
right,
Blade.
right.
Yeah.
It's the Lost Boys because he jokes about playing sax. So just like that's my favorite soundtrack of all time. The Lost
Oh,
Boys. I've owned
really?
it. Yeah, yeah. I've owned it as a cassette, a CD, like mini disc. Like it's the first. If I have to change to a new format of, that's the first thing I buy is the Lost Boys soundtrack.
Oh, amazing. That was
Every
actually like
single every song is a banger.
when I was in high school, that was what my CD case was full of, was movie soundtracks. I
Mm.
didn't buy a lot of like typical band CDs. I had a lot, mostly movie soundtracks.
We just had
Question
the anniversary of that. The date that that movie came out was like a couple weeks ago, and someone posted like, we still haven't found these boys. They disappeared like on this day in 1987, and it's the cast of the show, the vampires.
nice. Question 2. What can Helen remember from the username playing chess with Steve?
Oh, what part
A.
of his name? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the username is what we're looking for. A is Nessie for real. B. Chupacabra 32.
This is
C.
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, question 3. What country was the recording of the Iran mission made in?
Oh, that's a good one. What country is it made in? Okay, give me some.
Is it A,
Give me some.
Moldova, B, Georgia, C, Turkey, or D, Iran?
I think it was Moldova.
Yeah,
Wow, I'm doing really well.
yeah.
Question 4. What is the first line of the Silo anthem? A.
First line
See
of
the
his
rising
name.
lights. B. Hear the voices sing. C. Long night rise up. Or D. Hear the bell that rings.
I think it's Hear the Voices Sing, but that's a
No,
guess.
it's Hear the Bell That Rings.
Yeah.
Hear the Bell That Rings. Okay.
And actually, I really like this song. It's really pretty. And one of the tiny moments that I really like from the very first episode is when they start singing this song. You know, they're doing the
Hmm.
floating lanterns, and it's the scene where they cut to Holston, and you can't really hear him fully, but he's singing, and he just looks so, I don't know, like dutiful and innocent, because none of the stuff with Allison has happened yet. So he's in this state where life is good, and it's just so sad to see that, and then watch
Yeah,
what happens to him later.
I know.
But he
It is
sings the
sad.
line "Long Night Rise Up," and he just, I don't know, he just looks happy, and I
For the
fixate
last
on that
time.
moment a lot in the pilot. Okay, final question: what is Mike Davidson's dog's name?
Oh, Mike, that's the guy from Supply, right? Who's walking the dog out.
Orla's boyfriend.
Yeah. Um. Okay, give me some options.
A. Dandy, B. Daisy, C. Dixie, or D. Darling?
I think it's Daisy.
It's Dandy.
Is Dandy? Okay, I got that
It's
one.
Dandy. It's okay. We can say that you took forgetting drugs.
That's okay. 3 out of 5. I'm
Yeah,
happy.
good. Speaking
That's
of
good
Mike
for one of her
Davidson,
quizzes. Sorry.
speaking of Mike Davidson, though, I suspect him in Orla Kent's murder now. He's
Mm,
suspicious. It was. I just wanted to get that on the record, before we go into the
yep.
the rest of the
Good.
season.
Good to get your prediction down.
Yep.
All right, so that's all we have time for with you, Who. We can't wait to talk to you again at the end of the season after we've seen everything play out. I can't wait.
Same.
It feels like 5 weeks is both a lot and not much at all. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 weeks have already gone by. Already halfway there.
Yeah. It feels like we just started. Yeah.
Well, you're in for a wild
well,
ride, and it's been great talking to you guys, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today.
yeah, thank you
Pleasure.
so much. So tune in next week as we break down episode 6, The Drive. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later at the end of the season.